So we are today at one of the largest private car collections in existence. It's based right outside Glasgow in Scotland. Up until recently this hasn't been open to the public, but today it is. So pop the kettle on, join me for a full tour. So as you walk into this Aladdin's cave of cars, right away you're greeted by just some incredible rare metal. I mean, look at that, a CLK 63, the Black Series. It's got the big chunky wheel arches. The thing that must be said though is in this whole place, 99% of these cars are on delivery mileage. It's nice that they're preserved, but I don't quite know how to feel about that. I kind of feel like they should be getting used as well. Just an incredible lineup of Ferraris. The right era of Ferrari, I think, for me as well. This is the thing, this is Grant's tour of this place. You need to come and have a look for yourself. So we've got a 550 to kick off here. What really strikes me about these, because I've got a Ferrari 360, you can really see the era of Ferrari in them. The headlights, the mirrors, just the way they were built. If we could have seen inside, you see a lot of the switch gears the exact same as well. Stunning in black. There's a 430 here as well. Again, similar era to what I own, but this one looks a bit different. I think it's a Haman kit that's on it. It's probably about the only modified car in here. Moving on, we've got a 355, different generations. Could have really done with a 360 sat right in the middle here. We've got this stunning blue 355, sat next to a Challenge 355 by the looks of it. You can see the fire extinguishers and pull cords and such on it. My earliest memory of being out in a supercar was one of these. It was a rented 355. For that reason, I think it'll always hold a place for me. Going back a generation again, we've got the Testarossa. The epitome of old school cool, isn't it? Nice to look at. You don't actually want to own one of these though. They had some pretty severe differential problems. Moving on to the more modern era of Ferrari here, the later California. So this was the turbocharged version, the earlier was the naturally aspirated one. Amazing. These are becoming more affordable now. I say affordable in Ferrari terms. It's got a place in a museum and they're becoming affordable. The only thing that strikes me on this, because it's sat next to an 812, look at the intake plenums. You know, the Cali's got some intake plenum envy going on here, don't you? It's kind of like standing at the urinal next to someone else. If you walk a bit further up, we've got some more on-point era Ferraris. We've got a 599. For those of you who don't know much about this car, this was the one that used the detuned Enzo engine. So it's got that 6-litre V12. Epic thing. And then we've got arguably the modern era's original 4-seater, the 612 Skag. Interesting colour, it's almost like a British racing green on this. Rally Legends corner now, so if we look over here, epic Subarus, we got the Mitsubishis, and then if we go the other way, swing round, Lancia Delta Integrale. Last time I seen one of these was in Italy. Amazing things. Anytime I look at something like that, I just picture those scenes of it racing through a forest. Cut to one of them. This is the travesty, isn't it, of not quite having enough space. Give me that camera. If you look in there, there's actually 2 Clio V6s. Especially this. We've got a liquid yellow one, look at that.
Yeah, exactly. Give me 2 seconds.
It's incredible. That's the thing that strikes you, just the mass of collectible cars in here. I think as the generations move on as well, and we're seeing more in the way of electric cars and that kind of thing, stuff like this becomes even more important. The only thing that gets me though is, I know a lot of these cars are on delivery mileage, and on that basis, it makes me a wee bit sad. I want to drive some of them myself, get some miles on those clocks. But yeah, incredible, come and see it. Why did we paint old British cars colours like mustard? Look. Another beige. couple of OG original R8s here. Looks like they're both V8s from the details that I can see. Got a convertible, we got a hard top. I could give you the Top Gear rundown, but the only thing I'm going to add is the colours on these, stunning. If you look at that in particular, I don't know why they've done it, but R8s always seem to be really boring colours. It's nice to see one in an interesting colour. Lotus Carrollton, old school, cool. You can just see this thing doing a bank job, can't you? Now, I don't know if they've done this purposely, but if you look at sat next to a GTR, what we've got here is the sort of old school, on paper monster, sat next to what is the equivalent modern day, contemporary, on paper monster. And it's a Nismo as well. Oh, again, some of you might know I did own one of these also. It was a normal one, if you can have such a thing as a normal GTR. This being the Nismo, this is the one everyone wants, obviously, with the side skirts and the big bumpers and the wing and such on there. Amazing looking thing. What is here, likely an overlooked car, M3 CSL. Special car. Moving on, you've got a lot of special Beamers here. This is the problem with a place like this where you've got a time slot. There's only so much I can cover. What we got an M2, we got an M4, then moving on to the Fords, and there's a lot of Fords, let me tell you. Interesting here though, they've got 3 Mark II RSs and an RS 500. I don't yet see a Mark 1 or a Mark 3. Very telling what the most collectible car is, isn't it? I do stand corrected. We've got a gorgeous, gorgeous Mark 1 there. And further up, you can see next to the Ultimate Green Mark II, a 4th Mark II, we've got the Mark 3 as well. Mark II RS 500, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because it's almost not a car at this point. A good one of these, if you don't know, is north of £100,000 for a 2010s Ford that you can buy the equivalent non-500 version of for what? Nowadays, £20,000 to £25,000. But yeah, as I say, it's not even really like a car, is it? It's like a watch or anything else collectible. Residuals on these are only going to go one way, and I guess that's why it's in here. 2 RS 200s, and get a load of this if you come in. This one's actually rocking the double shockies, not something that you see every day. Over to the right, we got the Ultimate Green Mark II RS, we got the Mark III, and then if we spin round, you can see what I mean by being overwhelmed. Just an absolute sea of Sierra Cosworths onto Mustangs. Yeah. SLRs, anyone from my era, this is a special car. Because you need to think at this point, McLaren, the last thing they'd done really was the McLaren F1. We hadn't really seen much from them. Then they come along with this, the collaboration with Mercedes to give us the SLR. And the thing that always comes to mind, that Top Gear episode where Jeremy is racing Hammond and May and he's in one of these. Yeah, special car, nice to see them in the flesh. 3 of, by the way, just 3 of them, casually. On the Porsche front, just about every variation of 911 that you could have. That one in particular did catch my eye. Look at that, there's a Dakar sat there. Again, not something you're going to see every day. And if we do a 180 back to Mercedes, we're in the German corner here. And what have we got? We got AMG GTs. So we got 2 Solar Beam, I think it is, Solar Beam yellow AMG GTs and 2 AMG GTRs. You can just see these things bashing around the Nürburgring, can't you? Continuing on the Mercedes theme, we've got the SLSs, special car again, gull wing doors, harkening back to the older 300 SL and such. Stunning. Never seen one in the flesh again. And then if we turn around, a sea of McLarens is what we've got here. This must be a fairly recent delivery, this one, because this is the newer plug-in hybrid version of it, and it does appear that someone's left the nose lift up. Maybe it's just because it's sat next to the Extreme Senna, or maybe it's that little bit higher to protect the battery underneath. I'm not too sure on that one, but yeah, get a load of that, drink the details in on that Senna. Next up, Lamborghini. Starting with the Espada. I want to get the keys for these and put them into order. That's the only criticism I've got here. Espada. The thing that gets you with these, it's almost like a greenhouse, the size of these windows. Next up, Countach. Not an awful lot to say on this. We all know the story with these, but look at that interior. Do you reckon that started off as white? I think it might have. Next up, we got the camera walking backwards here. There's no one behind you, you're good. We got a Murcielago, look at that. And again, this is my kind of era. Stunning thing. There's a Lamborghini Cyan over there, and honestly, this does it for me. For one reason in particular as well, look at that. It is a gated manual. Unbelievable. This is what I mean though, I want to get the keys and rearrange them because we're now stepping back another couple of years to the Diablo. It's a VT, looks like a late one. Again, just unbelievable amount of cars here. Over there, we got Huracan STO as well. And then of course the Cyan, we'll get some close-up shots of that thing. I think in the region of 3.5, 4 million for one of those alone. Probably one of the most expensive cars here actually. Now if you do come here, don't miss this. It's a little bit oddly placed, I must say, but around there we've got the new Pagani Utopia. I'll get some close-up shots because as you can see it's a bit of a hype car, there's everyone crowding around it. And we've also got the MC20 here as well, revolutionary car for Maserati. Lots to see. Given it is just so busy here, let me give you a POV shot of the Utopia. Oh wow. I don't know if it's going to come across on camera, but the way that the light catches the carbon, it almost looks like pinstriping on some of the edges. Unbelievable looking thing. You know what? I noticed these wheels are 22 inches. My Ferrari has got 18 inches. It's just the way that the era has moved on. Everything's bigger and better. I got those massive brakes behind it that aren't much smaller than the wheel actually. But somehow it doesn't look disproportional. It is stunning. And there we have it, we have exhausted our time slot. There's so much to see, that is the frustration that we can't include everything. But my best advice, come and have a look at this for yourself. Even if you're down south, it's worth the travel, it absolutely is. And also, I think collections like this, as I mentioned in that little interview, they're only becoming more important as we push towards this 2030, 2035, when things are becoming electrified this, electrified that. Stuff like this is so important. Now thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, found it interesting, do hit the subscribe button, do hit the like button, and leave your thoughts in the comments section below. I'll see you for the next one.